Hello there, welcome to Monkeytron Collective, and today we're going to do a quick overview video of this kind of latest build that we've finished here at Monkeytron HQ. This has been a long time in the making. This is the Covenant. You may have spotted this, and I've been sharing it about a few times. It was lucky enough to win Mod of the Week slot on Foam Blast this week in Nerf, which we were very chuffed about. Thank you guys for that. Also recently just won a decoration category in the Nerf Reddit Overkill competition, which I was also super happy about. First time I'd entered one of the competitions on the Nerf Reddit and it won, so super happy with that. This is a integration of a main body as a Demolisher. We cut off the rocket launcher. This is the top front part of a Raider, or a Rampage it was actually, and the stock here is a Crossbolt stock. This blaster is, I made a blaster a few years ago, 3-4 years ago now, called the Raybringer. I'll stick a picture of that up here somewhere. And it was one of my early attempts at an integration job. I wanted to do something quite sci-fi and kind of spacey looking, so we did a Raven with the parts from a Lawbringer kind of stock and front end put on it. And it had it very much reminded me of a blaster from the Halo games. And we did a kind of silver, purpley washed paint job, kind of very rundown sci-fi kind of feeling paint job, and it just always reminded me of something from the Halo games, maybe kind of Covenant themed with the purpley thing. And but it wasn't a blaster I took a particularly long time on. It was a bit of a rush job. It was just kind of hot glued and epoxied and stuck together, and looked alright in the end. But as I said, it wasn't. I always wanted to revisit it and do it properly, and then kind of had this in my mind for quite a while. I had some spare Demolishers that were broken and some spare Crossbolts that were broken, so I thought I'm going to use these, chop them up, put them together, because they're going to get completely overhauled anyway. And yeah, I just felt the Crossbolt with its kind of squareness and this kind of blockiness of the Demolisher, they fitted really well together. And yeah, just this line at the back, it's kind of seamless, it just looks like it should be there. Obviously integrated the kind of thumb hole stock into the bottom of the handle there, it works quite well. And then yeah, the front end from the Rampage, it was just a spare part from a Rampage I had. I'm using the other front end, the pump grip from Rampage, and another project that I'm working on still just now, and that was the top piece, and it just happened by sheer coincidence, just fitted perfectly, and just the lines and everything fitted in very well. It gives you a very comfortable foregrip on this, so it's quite tight shouldering with the stock and nice foregrip, so it's a good CQB blaster, and that's kind of the way I wanted to go for it. Inside it's running Valkyrie motors in just a stock cage and stock wheels, so it's kind of nice and safe to use. Kind of on the 2S it'll be 100, it'll be sub 100 FPS, and on the 3S it'll be sub 130 FPS. So it's safe to use in most games, which is kind of the point of it, because I want to use it and show it off and play with it. And because of the sci-fi feel, I really wanted to go all out on the kind of LED work in this and really give it a kind of space age feel. So we have 4 different looms going on, 4 or 5, can't remember. Counted, I think, 105 separate soldered joints inside this blaster. It just took forever. It took me a couple of weeks to get the wiring done, and over a few different sessions, hours and hours of work. But it's worth it in the end, it's good fun. So we have these blue LEDs at the front here that come on when the mag's inserted, and some at the back there as well. And we also have, these are on separate looms. We also have, obviously there's 2 separate voltmeters. Because there was so many LEDs in the blaster, I decided to run it off 2 separate batteries, mainly so I could have the double voltmeter look, because I've never seen that in a blaster before, and I thought it just looked really cool. So we have, I think the green LED is the batteries, and the top one is the motors. And obviously when you put the mag in, these LEDs come on, and then when you pull the rev trigger, there's some red LEDs next to these blue ones which light up, and they kind of go a nice purple colour. They kind of glow kind of purpley in the dark, and it matches the paint job there. It was really good. And then I've also mounted some LEDs on the muzzle, so when you pull the trigger, I've mounted a little switch behind the trigger, so we get a kind of muzzle flash effects. So there's 2 red and 2 yellow LEDs mounted together, and they give a kind of orangey flash on the front when you pull the trigger. So it looks really cool. So in kind of low light games this will look awesome, I think. Not really a stealth blaster, but it will look kind of funny. So obviously when you take the mag out, these LEDs go off. I've kept the voltmeters on, just so there's some lights on it anyway, but the mag release acts as a kind of kill switch for these blasters, for these LEDs as well, and then they go back on when you put the mag in. If you've ever rewired a Demolisher, you'll know the old battery tray was here, and the wires switch across the shell, and there's a little plug in the bottom of the handle, I think, where they switched across. So these, I've got them wired back into the back here, and they switch across to the other side of the shell on Dean's connectors, one for each voltmeter, and then they swap onto this half of the shell and come through, and I've mounted the voltmeters in the old battery tray there, but the lipos for the blaster are mounted in the back of the stock here. So is this, and there's an old 6 clip that I cut down and inserted in the back here just to give a bigger battery tray, so you can kind of see with a bigger lipo in there. So we've got a bigger lipo running the motors, and then just a little dinky 2S running the LEDs. But yeah, you can keep an eye on them with the voltmeters there so they don't get too low. So this is glued in and fixed, so this doesn't come out, it's purely a battery stock now. And you get access to the batteries through the top here of the old Crossbolt jam door. So when I got to the paint job, I decided to go with a similar paint job to my old Raybringer blaster, which was a silver base with a kind of wash of candy purple. It wasn't a full-on candy job. But then I'd kind of weathered it down with washes and silver dry brushing. But I wanted this to pop a bit more, so I went with a full-on silver base coat at first, then masked off these silver areas, and then went with a candy purple, but I went for a full-on candy purple this time, so it's had a couple of layers of candy over the top of the silver. And I also added a bit of metallic flake onto some of it as well, so it really kind of sparkles in the light a bit when you catch it in the sunlight. Not a lot, just a tiny little spray of metallic paint, metallic flake over the candy purple. And then on top of that, we hydro dipped with this silver hex hydro dip, which I absolutely love. I've used this on a couple of blasters now, and it's a kind of clear back with a silver hex, so it goes really well over different backgrounds and stuff. And I just think it really pops with the candy purple and the little metallic flecks. And then we kind of picked out some highlights with a bit of silver here and there, a bit of black on the handle area and just on the back of the stock here, just to give a bit of contrast. And again, highlights, a bit of silvers here and there. And then we finished with some decals. So we've got some Covenant themed decals from Halo. Got a little Monkeytron Collective logo on the back there, just to kind of sign it. And then we went with Covenant writing. So the Covenant, the kind of alien collective from the Halo games, they have their own kind of language and writing within the game universe. So I've used their writing on the thing. So these voltmeters, the top one here says Pew for the motor volts, and these ones say LED for the LED volts. And then on here, instead of calling the blaster the Covenant, I usually put names of blasters on my blasters, but I decided to put some Covenant writing on this, and this is Nerf or nothing on there in Covenant writing, just as a bit of a joke. On the other side, we obviously don't have the voltmeters, so we just went for a bigger logo on there, and the same Nerf or nothing and some of the other stuff. So yeah, this is the Covenant, a kind of all-in-one CQB style blaster, kind of quite short stock, short muzzled. Another thing I want to say is this muzzle. This is a 3D printed muzzle piece. I apologise in advance if this was given to me at Foam Fest earlier this year by someone who I cannot remember, and I deeply apologise if it was yourself that gave me this. And I can't. Foam Fest was such a mad day. I have no recollection of half the day. It was so busy and so crazy. But somebody gave me this just as a gift, and I've put it to good use. It's gone onto this blaster. I just think it just pops off, so I just slide it on and off. I just think it gives the muzzle a bit of an extra effect, but it can pop off if you just want the pure orange muzzle. But I do like it on the front there, just as a little extra thing, and I do sincerely apologise if it was yourself that gave me it. I do not remember who gave me it. It was such a crazy day. But anyway, it's gone to a good home, and thank you very much, whoever it was. So here we are, it's the Covenant kind of CQB blaster. Hopefully I get to use this at a few games. Might be quite good at the indoor iCombat venue that we play at with Foam Dart Thunder. It's kind of low light, so the LEDs will look amazing. And yeah, I'll be able to run this on a 2S, and it'll be quite competitive and should look pretty cool, and be able to run it with the rest of my rig. Make a bit of sling on this at some point. It's a good sling point in the back there still. And integration's quite solid, so we've got lots of layers of epoxy resin in the sealing these, and it's all sealed over with epoxy putty and sanded down. Also a bit of a shout out to Mr. Nathan. He gave me lots of advice on getting these joints super smooth. I chatted to him a few times while I was building this, and he gave me lots of advice on how to get these joints really lining up and getting them nice and smooth, and different techniques of doing that. So a big shout out to him for helping me with that, which is much appreciated. And as I said, I put so much time into this, but it was worth it in the end. I really love it. Anyway, so thanks for watching. Make sure you check us out. Subscribe here on YouTube. You can follow us over on Instagram, and remember to like our page over on Facebook and keep up to date with everything that's happening. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.